Hey everybody, this is Donna Ratchford, and I am here with a special presentation. This is the presentation that I did a few years ago at Cape Bond about how to identify gifted students and some strategies to work with them. So, this is flip classroom mode where you can learn at your pace and go review these slides and go back over them. And I'm also going to add on to it the steps for the way our district in our state of Tennessee has put in guidelines into place for identification of gifted students and the services and things like that. But there is a state of Tennessee gifted manual. It is several pages long, very lengthy, but it has all of the legal guidelines from the state for giftedness. So if you are interested, I can link that to this video. Okay, so let's go to our first slide. All right, so the goal of this presentation is to explain giftedness, to expel some common myths about giftedness, describe characteristics of gifted students, and some strategies to help you meet their needs. Okay? So, giftedness defined. This basically is a definition that comes from the National Association of Gifted Children. It's basically saying that gifted children can be gifted in different areas intellectually, creatively, artistically, leadership, and then specifically in certain academic areas. So you could have a uh, child that is gifted in science, and those are your students who have a large mastery of the subject matter in science. They can tell you all about space and the animals and the landforms and things like that. And or you may have a mathematically gifted student who is able to solve complex problems and understand concepts beyond their age range, and so on. So now here are some myths about giftedness. First myth: gifted kids don't need help. They'll do fine on their own. This is a common myth in the field of education. Many regular classroom educators and also LAMPs and content area educators hold this belief, which is a myth, that they don't need any help. They'll do fine on their own, which means you do not have to give them any assistance. Just here's their work. They're going to make A's. They're good to go because they're gifted. Well, in reality, gifted students need well-trained teachers who will challenge and support them in order to fully develop their abilities. They may be so far ahead of the curriculum that they know over half of the grade level curriculum before it's even started. They could have boredom and frustration, which can lead to underachievement, which means they don't score as well as they should, or they could have social emotional problems, behavioral and emotional issues. And remember, SES is focusing on SEL as of now. Myth number 2: teachers challenge all students. So gifted kids will be fine in the regular classroom. We all like to believe this way, but unfortunately, this is not always the case. Many teachers lack training in gifted education. I know that when I originally went to get my undergraduate degree, we did not get any training in giftedness. And I know that is the case in many universities. And many teachers may not know how to best serve gifted students. They may have always taught in schools where there were not identified gifted students. So they may have lack of training in that area. Myth number 3: gifted students make everyone in the class smarter by providing a role model or a challenge. This one hits very close to home. The average or below average student may not look up to the gifted students. You're making a big assumption. Just because a student is in a CLU or a gifted program does not mean the rest of the class is looking up to them and wants them to be their mentor or their leader. Gifted students may get bullied for being socially or academically different. The other students may make fun of them, and not all gifted students have the social skills or desire to be a role model. They may be gifted, but they may not want to be anyone's role model. They may not know how to be someone's role model. Gifted students benefit from interaction with peers on their a similar performance level. It's better to put them with peers that are on their level. This happened to me a lot when I was in elementary and middle school. I was put by, certain students and told, the reason why is because they want them to start acting like me. But then I'm distracted by that student. I'm bothered by that student. Maybe the student may mess with me. Maybe the student may get upset because they think thought they were better than them. But I deserve to get an education just like the student that's next to me. And if I'm having to hear the student misbehave or do whatever, or if they're constantly asking me questions or things like that, I'm not able to focus and pay attention to on the instruction that the teacher is giving me. So please don't do this, and please do not make this assumption. It's a myth. Myth number 4, all children are gifted. No. The label gifted in a school setting means that when compared to others, his or her age or grade, the child has an advanced capacity to learn and apply what is learned in various subjects or disciplines. When you say this, you diminish other students' abilities and situations, and it's a way to ignore and not provide them the challenge or enrichment that those children need. All children are gifts, but not all children are gifted. This child can't be gifted. She or he has a disability. This is another common misconception. Underachievement is a discrepancy between a child's performance and their ability, which means the child makes C's or D's or possibly even F's when they have the ability to score higher. Students often become bored or frustrated when unchallenged and may develop poor study and work habits. Unchallenged does not mean the teacher is not teaching well or doing the best that they can. Unchallenged just means that the curriculum that is being taught, this child has mastered it, and they have become so used to not seeing new material that things are just easy for them, so they do not study because they don't need to, or they do not think they need to. Therefore, as they get older, they do not have the study habits and work habits. They may distrust the school. They may feel as if I'm never going to learn anything new in school, so why bother? Some gifted students may have learning disabilities such as twice exceptional, which means they may have autism or ADHD or a speech issue, and they can go undetected because their learning problems mask their giftedness. Everyone may be so focused on their ADHD or their autism that they don't see the positive traits. Next, gifted children are happy, popular, or well-adjusted in school. Some gifted children are more emotionally or morally intense than others, which means they may react in their anger or excitement or sadness at a higher level to things that another child may not. And they may see things black and white morally and not identify the gray areas. With that being the case, some of them can have depression, anxiety. They may have perfectionism, which means they think everything that they do needs to be perfect. They may not turn in an assignment, or they may be hard on themselves. They may also be deeply concerned about problems going on in the world. Right now, we are going through the COVID-19 global crisis. This could possibly cause a lot of emotional issues with gifted children because they are able to understand the complexity of the issue better than other children their age. They also could possibly be labeled as nerds, and they may not share the same interests as other classmates their age. So they may be interested in topics or hobbies that are uncommon to children their age. So they may be socially isolated. 100% kid. This kid always makes 100s, gets everything right. Everyone's telling them they're smart. The teacher knows, the students know who they are, but smart, and they think that smart means easy. But what happens when that child gets something wrong? Hard means failure. It means they're not smart. So if you're constantly telling this child that they're smart just because they get things correct, that can go into a problem when they get something wrong, and they may internalize this as that they are no longer smart. What grade did you get? I got an A. Really? Boy, I hate to be you. I got a C. Why on earth would you rather get a C than an A? I find my life is a lot easier the lower I keep everyone's expectations. So this is Calvin and Hobbes. This is an unidentified gifted student. Many people think that he had mass giftedness or imposter syndrome, which means that he's hiding his intellectual level in order to integrate socially with other students. So how do we identify gifted students? So I'm going to stop here, and then I'm going to do a part 2 for how do we identify gifted students. So you can choose to just focus on the other video, and then this one will be more on the identifying.